Hello! So I decided to do something a little bit different for this video. I was binging Shadow and Bone and I decided to vlog as I was watching. So sorry about the poor quality of my laptop camera, but anyway, here we go.
Sorry for the grossness of this quality. Okay, so I just watched the first episode and definitely want to keep watching. Really not sure how this gang after Alina is gonna work. I kind of like this. I don't mind it. Yeah. I just have absolutely no idea. Could be interesting. Could be an interesting tie. It's kind of a shame they don't have the Jura Parim, but maybe that'll come in later. There are a lot of things I do like. I really love the fact that they made her shoot. That is a really cool element that they added in there. And like that existing struggle was good. However, they did kind of change her character. On the other hand, maybe that's a good thing because I didn't love her in the books. It wasn't the best introduction to the world. A lot of telling, and like the very beginning, it was just like this narration. I'm like, this is not interesting. I'm like, this is not what I pictured when I pictured an adaptation. They changed the Darkling's name to a general something. I don't mind that because the Darkling, like, while the whole point is that no one knows his name, they don't necessarily know his first name. The Darkling is a little on the nose. Granted, his whole look is on the nose. I do not buy that Alexei ran across the fold when they hit, like, what, the second marker. I really like the Grisha actress, like, when the light went out, her response, like, her panic, and then, like, her horror, but she didn't, like, yell, she wasn't angry, she was just like, shoot, when the other guy turned the light on. There's some great lines so far already. Okay, I'm so pale. I need to move a little less pale. Now, I don't mean anything to the actor about it, but I feel like it is kind of the writing and direction too. He's just not oozing charisma, and that's what Al is supposed to do. He's supposed to be just effortlessly charming, and right now I'm like, I really like the mention, like they set up the fact that Mal is freaked out by Grisha. They set that up really well. When they had him hide, I really like the fact that they showed him catch a rabbit. I like kind of missed it, but I appreciate that. The fact that he was told to catch a rabbit for dinner, that was really good. But when she said, like, you have to hide and can't always run from a fight, and then Alina stood up for him, I don't know how I feel about that, because it is changing her character to be like a strong female, but there's nothing wrong with growing into a strong female. I think having a different dynamic where Mal's kind of in the lead, that could still be interesting. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I felt like her standing up to the other orphans, like, it's tricky because it's really changing the character, so I'm not sure what they're gonna do with it. I wasn't sure about Jesper because he wasn't really what I pictured, but instantly I love the Caradem crew. I was noticing that there was like a lot of kind of like not great storytelling going on with the First Army section. Sometimes there's just a lot of telling, and then there's kind of some weird lines going on, and like some things just weren't really hitting. I just couldn't entirely get lost in it. Granted, I haven't really read a book to screen adaptation that was a show like this. That might also be a part of it. I kind of want them to slow down significantly, build the characters a little bit more. I did really like the moment when she burned the maps and how that led to all of her fellow cartographers getting killed. And they kind of knew it, that it was her fault, but, and like still some defended her and whatever. I really like that because it's getting into the dark part a little bit. It's like, you know, that ship might not have been attacked without that cartographer setting the light. So it's her fault that all those people died. Maybe some would have died anyway, but it's kind of her fault. And I really hope they explore more of that, because I wanted more of that in the book, like her responsibility for all of this. But anyway, as I was saying in the first army sections, there's like some not great storytelling going on. The very beginning is just kind of, it didn't get me excited. As soon as we go to Ketterdam, love it. The Kaz actor is excellent, and like the thing with the cane, like, that was really good. The Kaz actor is perfect, however there are like a few lines and a few moments where he's just not as like cool, calm, and collected, and like he's not holding the cards as close to himself as I felt like he was in the book. Inej, I like the fact that she brought up asking Kaz to help with other girls at the menagerie, and they introduced that earlier on. I thought that was good. Jesper, his swagger is so good. I don't know about the casting for Mal or some of the other characters yet, but I think Alina, so far I like the casting. Inej seems pretty good. Kaz and Jesper, excellent. Zoya, I don't hate her as much. It is really weird to hear her with an accent like everyone else's, because in the audiobook her accent was really strong and like snooty, and so it's kind of a shame that that's not how it is, but she makes her more sympathetic earlier on. So I think they are kind of improving what wasn't working in Shadow and Bone, but we'll see. I'm really nervous. I think it's an interesting direction with Six of Crows, but it's also kind of disappointing because I really wanted to see an adaptation of Six of Crows, you know? I assume Matthias is how they're going to get through the fold. Like, he's their secret weapon to get through the fold. I don't know, but I don't understand how, because he made sense for the Ice Core heist. And they mentioned they might be able to go through Fjerdan, but like that will take a long time, and they don't have that kind of time, so I'm just confused. I don't really know how Matthias fits into this, and if Matthias is not included, I will be livid. I know nothing about this show. I haven't seen the previews, I haven't seen anything because I didn't want to be spoiled. Venek, they changed his name, and I don't know why, but I don't think he really has the right feel. Because I think the Venek in the book was more compelling than whoever this guy is. This guy I feel like is a little bit, can be written off. It's like just a sleazy businessman. I'm not really feeling the sense of class difference, and I'm not feeling he's clever enough to somewhat best Kaz, like to a point, just a little. The costumes look good, the world looks good, the Volcra are terrifying and I think are designed really well, because I think a lot of time with like beasts in like YA adaptations especially, they never look the way you think they're gonna look, but these ones actually did a pretty good job. They're freaking huge. I hope they do lean more into the Grisha politics. It seems like they might, so I'm excited for that. I'm so scared that they're gonna screw it up. I realized I was like angry. I'm like, why is Alina standing up for Mal? And in the book, Mal had to learn to let her be cooler than him. And like, he's used to needing to take care of her. So this is very different. So, I don't know, maybe it'll make me less angry at Mal, because Mal in the books I was really mad at. The first army sections with like, from Shadow and Bone, just like with the books, it felt like the quality shifted to better when it went to the Six of Crows area. Like I was saying, it had the narration at the beginning, and I had some weird lines and like some kind of forced exposition, which, you know, maybe it's fine. It's like you're on a tight schedule with these things and you need it to move fast and whatever. It was kind of clunky, and then a shift to Six of Crows, storytelling is much better. For instance, they had the threat with Pekka Rollins. Also, really like the casting for Pekka Rollins. When he had his hat on, I was like, no, it's disgusting. And then he took his hat off, and I was like, I love it, I love it. He's perfect. He's perfect. And he has an Irish accent, thank goodness. I don't think I could have handled him without an Irish accent. But when he's like, either you take 10% or I kill you. And then later when I cut back, it just showed this blood stain on the floor. And so it's not telling you what happened. It's just suggesting gently what might have happened, and it also informs you about his character. I really love that. However, I am very confused as to why his henchmen were mopping the rug. I'm no expert with cleaning or rugs or anything, but I don't think you can mop a rug. I feel like it might lead to like water damage. Maybe it cleans up the worst of it. It feels really fast paced, and I think part of it is because the books are so character heavy that there honestly isn't a ton of plot going on. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll go on to episode 2 and we'll see how it is. I hate how poor quality this video is. Ugh, what is this, the 2000s? The Darkling is what I call oozing charisma. Like, I liked the Darkling in the book, but I didn't love him. I love the TV show's Darkling. I'm like, I will trust anything you say. Anything you say. I love him. The device thing is weird, but I guess it's easier than explaining amplifiers. But he definitely, I feel like you can feel like being drawn to him. I kind of want to see even more of that, of like the people reacting around him, but I can definitely feel that, and so I think that's really awesome. The conductor, new character? I don't know what to do with that. Tanta Helene was interesting. It's interesting that they decided to keep Anish as still technically a part of the menagerie. I think that's interesting because it shows like a little bit more of a hold, and it shows Kaz doing something for her after they get to know each other a little bit faster. She has a brother who is also sold. Interesting. The part where the guy who was about to, the conductor, when he was like, "You worship the saints too," that was that was really good. I thought it was a really nice way of introducing her faith. Love Jesper. The drop of the demolitions expert is okay. So I guess since they did introduce the Druskala, I suppose that what might happen is they meet Matthias on the journey. Maybe. I like Mal better. I think that's pretty good. There's sometimes where I'm like, the direction is so good, and then there's other times where it's just not. I think my biggest problem with Kaz is that he's not as calm and collected. He seems easier to rile up, and he was beaten up by Pekka Rollins pretty quickly, and I don't know why Pekka Rollins didn't just kill him. It doesn't even make sense. That feels like a plot hole. I think they're kind of undercutting Kaz's swagger, which is a shame. I had to pause mid-episode. The conductor, I don't mind him, but his presence angers me. One, they've broken up the dream team for the heist. Not a fan. Also, the heist, not that clever. It was like mildly cool, but considering it was 2 books chock full of really awesome heists, I think part of the reason Six of Crows is so awesome is because it blows your mind as you read it. It blows your mind with what Kaz thinks of, with what was prepared, and then when you think something goes wrong, turns out they actually planned that. Also, just the way they get out of really sticky situations. This heist for the blueprints was extremely lame. 1. 2. The fact that the conductor did this little acrobat trick pisses me off. No. If anyone would think of that, it's Kaz. Kaz would be the one who did that. I'm very angry. Kaz is supposed to be 10 steps ahead of everyone, and instead he's being told frickin' what's the point of having him around? Just to be the serious leader? Anger. I really like a little moment where he was like, okay, if the ship goes down, kill the prisoners because we don't want them free. He's like, I thought they were gonna stand trial. It's not honorable. It's not fair. And I really love that moment because it's like you can see the practical but cruelty behind it, and what might make Matthias change his mind, which I love. Alina getting rid of her scar really hurt me. On the other hand, Jinja's a tailor, so the scar's not gone permanently, right? I really like how they're making me like her and Mal's relationship a lot more than I did in the book. Like, I feel like I'm getting to know them as children a bit better. It's also interesting that she's more so growing out of this need to protect him. She's not mothering him, but like kind of a protective instinct that she has to look out for him and take care of him and sacrifice a part of herself for him to take care of him, and now she's letting that go. I appreciate that. I like Mal a lot more than I did in the books. I appreciate him and his friends who unfortunately just died. I appreciate them a lot more. Getting to see them, you know, like getting to see his reaction to losing his friends on this chase for the stag. I really, really like that. In no world would he say that. No, he spent 90% of 2 books being infuriatingly close-lipped.
Okay.
All the time, it's like, okay, if you say this one simple thing, then this person won't be mad at you. Just admit your feelings and communicate. Instead, he was just quiet and mean. And this just had him saying things, and I'm mad.
Oh no.
No. He doesn't say things. He doesn't admit that other people are right. He doesn't admit he has feelings. He doesn't admit that other people are important to him.
Big character change.
And I'm angry. I like the Saints quote, but man. Also, in a society that worships wolves as their friends, where they are the most sacred of all creatures, they would not have wolf pelts as decor.
That seems sacrilegious.
They would treat them with respect and like probably bury them in some specific way. Okay. It's pretty good. I appreciate the backstory attempt to connect it all. The problem with it is it completely undercuts all of the character development in both Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. They have no more development to do. It made Kaz not the genius he is. There didn't have the surprise twists that, oh, turns out he thought of this all along. It didn't have any of that. Honestly, maybe they should have just come in for the second season. And now what are they going to do? Kidnap the next person? I did really like how they had Matthias react to the wolf. Like, they showed him staring at it. I really, really appreciated that. I felt like it was like, ooh, layered, because it's Ravka, and so wolves are a really feared thing. They have it up on the wall. I did appreciate the fact that she was able to tell him her reason for branding him a slaver, because I feel like if he truly believed that she had absolutely betrayed him like that for what, like 2 years, that would be really, really hard to forgive her, whereas planting that idea now would be better. Means that he might be more willing to believe and eventually forgive her. I enjoyed them. I think Nina is not... the narrator for the audiobook was so good that I'm not really feeling it. I think the reason I'm not really feeling the relationship is because Matthias, I don't really buy his arc into liking her, because he specifically sought her out to question her and stuff instead of just seeming honorable, like treating her like a person. That made him seem more manipulative and conniving than he is, even though I know why he did it. It wasn't a slow enough growth to him warming up to her. They didn't really show that, and I think they could have shown that better. Like, for instance, they showed her admiring him when he was taking off his clothes or whatever. I think they should have had that same thing with him for her, so you could see their attraction, or see the moment where he saw her as maybe lovely or beautiful or alluring or whatever. Not necessarily in a sexual way, but if she was smiling and seeing her face light up in the sunlight or something. I think that would, a close-up like that would indicate that he's warming up to her in a way that it wasn't really before. It wasn't showing from his perspective, and I think it needed to. That said, the actor is adorable, and I think he's playing Matthias really well. Also, it's a really small thing, but when they were about to kiss and the stomach growled, I think it should have been Nina's stomach growling. It's partially a character thing. Like, she's always hungry. I do like the fact that they were in Ravka and not Fjerda. I think even the show writers knew that they didn't make Matthias quite as willing to protect her as he necessarily was in the book, so it makes more sense that in Ravka she was the one with the power, that he was the enemy in the land. She had that power and she used it against him, and I appreciated the waffles. I'm just upset that they're not doing Kaz well, because Six of Crows was so cool, because it's so impressive and clever, and it's like absolute worst case situation, and it gets even worse. And they're not doing that here. They're being kind of stupid heroes. They're not being clever, and I don't like it. And Kaz said, I need you to Inej. Where the heck is he supposed to go from there? I don't understand. They're not building his relationship at all. It wouldn't make sense for her to stick around without him saying that. But honestly, so what? He's not at that point. You're not giving him a character arc. I think the Shadow and Bone trilogy, I think it's honestly so much better now, because she focuses a lot on character, and the thing is, because partially I think we were limited to Alina's perspective, but the characters were just not as likable. I don't know, it just didn't work quite as well. It was still a great series, but it just wasn't working that well for me. Like, I like Mal a lot more here than I did in the books, even in the first book when I still liked him. And they changed his character a bit. Honestly, I'm not mad. And I think they did the Darkling really well. I think they made him, they didn't take away anything that was already there, and they're only adding to him. And I love that. Six of Crows part of the adaptation, because it's not even really adapting them at this point, it like barely feels like the characters, and their plot is completely different, and they're just like riffing, basically. I don't mind it as much because it's like, it doesn't even feel like an adaptation, but it's still really disappointing that I'm not going to get that. Like, I almost want there to be a separate, honestly, movie. The Six of Crows could be a movie. Make it its own thing. The actors can be the same. Yeah, I have no idea. Because it seems like they might spin off with those characters and do their own thing. Like, intertwine them all to introduce them, and then it's going to spin them off instead of doing something in the reverse. But I don't even know how you would do that. As I said, the characters have nowhere to go. They're making Kaz a lot better of a person than he is. They're not using his wit. They're not using his cleverness. They're just seriously, they're doing Kaz dirty. Kaz is not dirty hands, they're doing him dirty. You know, maybe they'll let him be awesome in the second season. I don't know, I'm definitely gonna watch the second season. I'm very excited about it. I don't know if any of these things would hit more if I didn't already know all of this information. I think it also, in storytelling, you want to make sure everything has a purpose, and since technically most of the stuff Alina's doing was done without the heist team, you know that they're kind of forced into it and that their actions have no consequences. They kind of do. They did a decent job. I really loved how the show did capture like the non-heterosexual default is just normal, and I really love how they just leaned into that, because with some mainstream shows I worry that they're not going to, that they're going to just kind of float past it or something, but no, they didn't, and I'm really happy about that. I'm really enjoying the adaptation. I'm definitely going to keep watching, and I'm excited for it. Don't think I enjoy it more than the Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, though, because those are really good.
So now that I finished the whole show, I can definitely say that I enjoyed it and I'm looking forward to the next season. Thank you to the creators and the cast and everyone a part of the project. They did a really great job. I do want to mention that I watched the Netflix after party for the show, and the actor who played the Darkling had the books like in his frame, and I was I already loved him as the Darkling, but I just love him even more now. It really means a lot to see the actors of the show get excited about the books and like be like, yay, I read the books, I understand the character. Tell me in the comments what you thought of the show. How do you think it worked as an adaptation? Do you agree with me or disagree with me on any of the things I talked about? Are you going to watch the next season? And what are you looking forward to in season 2? So yeah, that is all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.